Hey everyone, this is Kevin from OverAI, and today I'm going to show you how to connect your OverAI instance to another software service that you're using that may not have APIs available. And we typically see this with older, outdated systems that may have never released an API, or they may have an API that's on some sort of extra paid plan and your company is not interested in paying for it, but there are still ways that we can integrate with that tool. So, um, and if you want to figure out if your tool has APIs available, I should add that note. You can always search online. So if I search, SAP APIs, you'll see that, SAP has a million different third-party integrations that work with its APIs, other stuff like that. So that's one way to start the investigation, just to know if you need this in the first place. But let's return to the OverAI product. And uh, the example we're going to use here, I'm going to go over to Trello. You may not be familiar with Trello, but it's a simple project management tool. It's easy to create a free account, so you can also test this yourself if you'd like to. And um, you can see an example here. This is a very typical Kanban board. I have a bunch of examples in there. There's going to be more examples. And so in this demo, we are going to manipulate this Kanban board from outside of Trello, from within OverAI, and that allows us to more easily integrate it with any other functionality we have going in OverAI. Um, Last thing you will need in order to do this is the OverAI Chrome extension, and it's actually private on the Chrome Web Store. So if I just start typing, actually, let me use the voice. Uh, where can I find the OverAI Chrome extension on the Chrome Web Store? And then we'll send that. Yep, so you see it already highlights that the main point is the network recorder tool. If we click here and go here, you will see that we're on this. I already have it in my Chrome browser. You'll add it to yours, and off we go. Okay, so that's enough on the technical setup. Now let's talk through how the Chrome extension works. So I'm going to head over to Trello. I'm going to click the Chrome extension in my own browser, and I'm going to go over to the briefcase icon. And so the main feature we're going to be using is called the network recorder. What the network recorder does is it records everything that's going on in your browser at the time. Most importantly, requests and responses to the internal APIs that the tool uses. And then what will happen is it will put out a markdown file that we can plug into the architect in order to actually uh, have OverAI work as if they were you, as if they were your user. And so to get started, the first thing we need to do is record the login flow because it will need to capture the cookies associated with your user so that it can then operate the software as if it were you. And so what I'll do is I'm just going to record the flow of the login going to opening this board. Uh, so you can see an example of how this works. So I will log out here. I'm going to go to log out. Going to log back in. And before I click login, I'm going to hit start recording so that it can later operate as me. Hit start recording. Don't need to save this. And then all we'll do is click into the browser, or sorry, into the board, and that's enough. We'll hit stop and upload. And you can see it created a network capture file. I'm going to copy and paste this just so we can see it together. And it's borderline gibberish to a human, but these are actually all the network requests that were made that were made in the time that I was recording this. So you can see that there were 88 that the extension captured. And now we're going to go back to OverAI. We're going to cancel this and we're going to get started with this little integration that I'd like to build. So I think the main things I'd like to prove out are a GET request, which is what we just did. A GET request means we just got all the contents of the board, and I'd like to show that in OverAI. And then also we'd like to next do a post request, which is when we add a new item to the board. So I'll show that as well. So I'll just get it started with, I have, let me use the voice. I have a network recording file from the OverAI Chrome extension that shows both a login and a uh, uh, all the contents of an individual board. I'd like to recreate that board within OverAI. Here's the link. And we'll paste the link. And here we go. Okay, so it seems to have returned some results. Let me go to view mode and let me get rid of the network recorder so we can see this more clearly. And yeah, you can see it has basically recreated Trello uh, and put everything in the correct column. You know, there are up to, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 8 tasks here, 1 in the in progress. If we go back to the Trello board, we can see the same thing. There's slightly different ordering here, but yeah, the same thing. There's no, my 7th item, if we go back, let's see. So it seems to have, where did my 8th card come from? Let's see where it came from. Or maybe my Trello board is not, no, it's not that. Okay, it hallucinated. Okay, so it says, do you know the real name for those 3 cards? I can update them right away. So I don't know what 3 cards it's talking about because it's not perfect. So let's see if we can trigger another network capture here that lists these out again. So I'm going to go up here for the Chrome extension, gonna hit start recording, and I'm just gonna refresh the page here. And let's see, should be smaller, that makes sense. And let's ask it if it can use this. Recording to find remaining card. Okay, so the architect has returned in a result, and it is correct this time around because it's simply a very large board response from Trello. They have a lot of different API calls, so it took a while to sort through it, but it did. And one thing I'm noticing here is it seems to have done it in a very one-off manner, where there's no way to know, are these still all the cards on the board? Is this the latest status? We really need a live integration with Trello, and that's the whole point of what we're doing here, of this video. So let's push it a little further and say, can we add a refresh button so I can pull the latest? Okay, so I'm telling it we really need a way to integrate with this tool. It's of course going to recommend the Trello API because that is usually the best option. Unfortunately, we're on the free Trello plan, so we don't necessarily have access to the API, and we're trying to simulate a situation where you may not have access to an API. So let me make sure it knows we cannot, let me just use this. We cannot access the API currently. Can we do this using my login credentials. Okay, so it's pushing me harder. No, I don't. Uh, Cookies are fine with me. So yes, it now recognizes that it has a solution. It can use a function in OverAI to make these requests so that we don't get hit by cross-origin request issues. It acknowledges that the cookie expires, I think, after 30 days. So we will have to refresh the cookie, but that's usually pretty simple and it's a one-time thing. You just have to do it once every 30 days, update it in one place, and then everything will be updated. And so, yes, please, it's suggesting the correct approach. All right, let's test the refresh functionality. So I see we have a refresh button up here. Let's see if we can just make one small change to the board. So I'll put my fifth card, I'll put it in progress. One simple change, let's see how it does. Refresh. All right, there we go. So it's able to pull the latest status of each of the cards and the board itself. You can see it lets us know when it was last refreshed. And so, yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the next phase, which is um, let's see if we can create a form where we create a new card and that goes back to Trello. So it goes a post request back to Trello. So before we create a form here to add a new card to the board, we first need to acknowledge that our little software service here doesn't really know what a post request in Trello looks like. It doesn't have anything to successfully send that back to Trello, so we need another network recording. And so I'm going to go back to the Trello board, and the thing we want is just the add a card concept. So all I need to do is I'll go over here to the Chrome extension. I'll start a recording. And then I'm going to add a card. We're going to say live test card will be the name. And I'll hit add card. And that's all. So then I'll stop. I'll create another file. And then now when we go back to OverAI, we are going to say, let me turn on the mic. Okay, I have another network recording of the creation of a new card in Trello, and I'd like to add a form to this web page so that I can add a new card with any status. Can you create that for me? Here's the link to the network recording. And let's see what it comes back with. It should be able to find the post request in there of creating the new card, and then it's going to add it as well. Okay, so it claims we have a new card button in the board on the right side. Let me close this. There's a weird error message here, so I'll first ask it to debug this. Page on the board. Let's see what it comes back with. Okay, let me try refreshing the page real quick. Okay, cool. Nope. It's not working still. Okay, it looks like it was just an issue that it's describing here. So let's see if the new card functionality works now. If I hit new card, I'm going to say internal over AI test ticket, and I'm going to give it on the in progress column. So I want it to show up in the middle first, and let's see what happens. Add card, we can see it's popping up within OverAI. And if we go back to Trello, it's here. So it appears that it is actually working, and we are now able to sync data bidirectionally between OverAI and Trello, which is the goal. Pulling data from Trello and then pushing it back in. So that's great. And I think the last thing I wanted to investigate, I saw something in here in our board. The function is called fetch Trello board, but now we're also creating a new card. So that's a little misleading, and that's not um, that doesn't really represent what we're doing here. So let's ask it, why is the function called uh, fetch Trello board when we also post data back to Trello? And let's see if it just forgot to update it. Okay, so now we have it renamed, and it uh, has both post and get requests in here, which is good. All right. So there's our demo. You're welcome to build off this by continuing to add individual, every time you want to simulate, or I guess replicate, a function in external software, all you have to do is use the OverAI Chrome extension to record it, and then plug that recording back into OverAI, and then use the architect to then add that functionality to your OverAI apps.